Florida, Debbie has now been downgraded from a hurricane to a tropical storm. At least 4 people are dead as this storm barrels across the strait. Right now, more than 275,000 customers don't have power across Florida. The storm will also be taking aim at Georgia and South Carolina, and the Hurricane Center warns this is still a life-threatening situation.
Yeah, it is, and a real rainmaker. NBC News correspondent Jesse Kirch is in Perry, Florida, tracking the storm's path for us. What are the latest conditions there, and is it expected to get worse? I know rain is a big concern.
Yeah, so Christine, right now we're really just dealing with a mist, but the wind gusts are still going. You can see behind me the wind making some flagpoles blow around here. We haven't had too much debris knocked over here, which is good, but we are among those, I can tell you, in this community that have lost power as this storm continues charging up the East Coast. Although I shouldn't even say charging, because frankly it is moving at a crawl. Debbie now downgraded to a tropical storm, but it is moving very slowly compared to how these storms go, and that means that there's a lot of time for a lot of rain to continue to dump on the southeast U.S. Florida, Georgia, and South Carolina, all 3 states' governors have declared states of emergency. And we're talking about the possibility of around 30 inches of rain localized in some areas. I do want to talk about something that our climate team is flagging to us, that the week we are really just beginning, because this is going to be a days-long event, is something that we can point to climate change as having a role to play here, because we are looking at warmer atmospheric conditions, which can mean more precipitation falling. And also, the big story with this storm is not the wind, not the storm surge, but the rainfall totals in the aftermath. And what I'm told by our climate team is with climate change, you could have changes in the atmospheric conditions, which could make it so that storms continue to be stalling out and slowing down, which is what we are seeing right now with Debbie. It is going very slowly. It has been continuously getting slower as it made landfall and continues to march inland over the U.S. And so what that can do is allow for more time for more rain to fall. And that's why we're looking at the possibility of life-threatening catastrophic flooding in the days ahead, guys.
Jesse, it seems to me like this is a storm where people didn't so much evacuate as they hunkered down. What is it you're seeing there? And also anything you're learning about these 4 people who've died?
A bit of both, Joe. So yesterday we were nearby Keaton Beach. That area, as well as this one just inland, are 2 of the areas that were hit hard by Idalia last year, a Category 3 hurricane that came through this region. I spoke with a gentleman. He and his family were boarding up and getting ready to leave. I spoke to a woman who said she was going to be staying in that community. So as always, I would say, speaking generally there, but typically when we cover these kinds of events, we often meet people who are planning to stay and other people who are planning to leave. And this storm appears to have been no different. I haven't heard anything about any fatalities in this community, but you talk about those 4 weather-related deaths, not necessarily directly attributed to Debbie at this point, but we know from officials that there was a semi-truck cab that went off into a waterway. That driver was found dead. We know of a tree falling on a mobile home and killing a boy. And then we know of a woman, but I don't know if we know the ages of these 2 yet, but we know of 2 people who were killed in a vehicle crash, a vehicle spin out of some kind. So those are the 4 fatalities we know of, and we'll be keeping an eye on how that might progress, and hopefully we will not see more deaths. But again, we do have catastrophic flooding in the days ahead across this region, and so the threat from Debbie is far from over, guys.
Yeah, Jesse, we did get an update on that single car crash you mentioned. It was a 38-year-old woman and a 12-year-old boy who were killed in that crash.
Jesse, do we know any more about where this storm is headed? We're showing sort of the projected path on the screen, so it looks like states to the north and the east are getting ready here.
And landfall in the days ahead as well. So Florida is obviously the target right now. Georgia and South Carolina are going to start to get some serious rain. 2 cities that we have teams that are keeping an eye on: Savannah, Georgia, and Charleston, South Carolina. And for context, officials in South Carolina talked about the potential for 30 inches or so of rain this week. And that's about half of what is typically expected in that area, we're told, in a year. So imagine getting a year's worth of rain in just a handful of days. That's what we're potentially looking at in communities along the East Coast coming up.
Certainly a dangerous situation even after the storm passes. Everyone be careful. Jesse, thank you.